in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to master persuasion and influence and what's important about that for you, especially in the real estate agent space. And I'm gonna share with you 4 ways that I master persuasion influence every single day. But the real benefit to you on mastering persuasion influence is so that you can create consistent income from a network, and it can even be residual. The bigger you grow your network and the more persuasion and influence you have in their lives in a beneficial way, the more money you make, the more time freedom you have, the more geographic freedom you have, and ultimately, the more freedom in general. So let's step right into what parts that you've got to be mastering, and then I will teach you how to master. So the first part that you got to master is what's called the meaningful conversation. This is where you're starting to engage with an agent through your agent attraction process. You got to master how are you going to actually have a conversation with them that doesn't come across spammy. And most of these conversations are going to happen via text message or DM. Sometimes they can happen via telephone as well. So you've got to master the ability to have a meaningful conversation and move to what's called a triage call. That's the third part of a sales system. And this is really where you're gonna have to master 15-minute conversations of discovery. More like, what's in it for them? What's going on in their life, in their business, in their money? And what value can you provide to them that will help them get past their sticking point? And then the third thing that you've got to master is what's called the strategy session or the offer presentation. This is where you're actually going to sell them something. I want you to think as a real estate agent, this is the listing appointment, but for real estate agents, you're going to give a presentation to them that either has them name you as a sponsor in your downline or you sell them a coaching or training product. Now, how you're going to master this is really 4 parts. The first part is role play. You role play these conversations, role play what you're going to say, role play what you're going to do. The second part is hand write these conversations out every single day. The third part, I love to visualize it in my head, visualize in my mind, having the meaningful conversation, doing the triage call, and ultimately doing the strategy session that leads them to name me as their sponsor, that leads them to give me $25,000 for one of my mentorship programs. And then the fourth is you're going to actually watch game film. So go back and review the DM thread on what you were doing, find out what works or didn't work to have a meaningful conversation. Go listen to the recorded triage call so you can find out what questions that you asked that worked and which ones didn't, and ask more of the ones that worked and stop asking the questions that didn't work. And then finally, you want to record and listen to your live strategy sessions so that you get even better at communicating and persuading people to join with your offer, whatever it is you have to offer. Now, I will say there's one bonus way to persuade and influence others that if you master this skill will make you millions and millions and millions of dollars and make you one of the most influential people in your company or with your brand. And that's the ability to speak and train on stage. Yeah, you heard me. Speak and train on stage. So many people today want to be speakers and trainers, and most of them suck. They're freaking boring, quite honestly. There's one trick when it comes to training on stage, and that, write this down, is to manage the energy and the state of the room. So many people, you'll see speakers ask this question, how many of you guys have heard of me before? And like, no one says anything. Or how many of you guys have ever been on a listing appointment? And like a handful raise their hand because people aren't fully engaged. Whatever question you ask is you have to check their energy. How many of you ever heard of me before? 3 people? Who's never heard of me before? Then the rest raises their hands. The idea is you want them raising their hands. You want them engaging. But ultimately, if you can use accelerated learning with any of these types of way of communication, whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many, and that's where the big money is made, is one-to-many, that's where you can grow and scale big time to a multiple 7-figure agent network. Go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit the like button and share this content with someone else. Make sure to subscribe so you can see me on my next video, and I'll see you there.